introduce yourself for us?
Yeah, hi. My name's Frank Nickel.
Nice
Uh,
to meet you.
Good to meet you.
Could you tell us your experience as a lifer?
Yeah, I was a lifer. Well, uh, real quick, Christmas night, 1981, 9:35 at night. My whole life changed. Uh, and then it stayed changed for 34 years up until October 23rd, 2015. Um, I was a truck driver and I had a wife and two children, and a fight got out of hand, and I made a bad choice, and a man cost a man his life, and instead of going ahead and telling the truth, I chose to lie, and instead of doing 4 years, I got convicted of first degree murder. Uh, as a lifer, well, you know, my first few years, I was more concerned about my family. I was more concerned about getting back out. Probably took about 10 years for reality to set in for me. By the time I got to 10 years, I'd been to San Quentin, I'd been to Vacaville. I was actually Charlie Manson's next door neighbor for 6 months. Got to know Charlie. Then I met a lot of other people. Along the way, after Vacaville came CMC. After CMC came Soledad. After Soledad came Corcoran. After Corcoran came Folsom. After Folsom came Tehachapi, on and on. I finally ended up back in Corcoran where I got released after 34 years. I don't know what to say about being a lifer. I watched my mom die. I watched my dad die. I lost two brothers. I lost two sisters. I'm 67 now. I have one brother. I mean, one sister, I'm sorry, who's 9 years older than me, and me, and that's it. My mother, after about 11 years, gave up, and I didn't learn about this until after I got out, but she took my father's gun and put it to her head and took her life. I think because, she gave up on me coming home. So, and I watched my kids go from 5 and 10 and to their 40s. My daughter just turned 43. So it's patching up those relationships best I can too. I've been very lucky since I got out. I did meet my ex, my wife then, and me, of course, divorced, and she went on to live her life, which was the right thing to do. I met my wife Renee 5 years ago, about a year after I got out, and I have a house back in Cleveland. I flew out here today from Cleveland, Ohio, or yesterday, to come to this, see a lot of guys that spent a lot of decades with, and I'm a truck driver. I have my house. I have a couple dogs. I'm a grandfather. Life's good for me. It's been a lot of hard work coming back, and I guess today's probably the most emotional day because I don't really think about it. When I got out, I did what I always did. I just I hit the ground running, and been doing that ever since. I will say this because what I went through in there, things I put myself through, my family, and everything else. Because I was I was a PR guy for the Outlaws, and so I still ride motorcycles. I got Harleys, but back then I was on the wrong side of it. If you understand what I'm saying. Today I'm a truck driver and a grandfather, and I like riding motorcycles. I do it with the older guys. A lot of the older guys are old, Hell's Angels and stuff, but we're not fighting each other anymore. We're just enjoying life. Uh, I really don't know what else to say except for a younger generation. It's not always about proving how tough you are. Sometimes it's about proving how much you love your family. So, something gets to you, or you start to have bad thoughts, or you feel you got to prove yourself. Run that scenario through your head about how quick stepping out a door can take it all away, and you know what? Know that you're a hero for walking away instead of walking towards danger. That's really all I got to say. I don't know what else I can tell you unless you need to ask me something else.
How did you meet Nani?
Uh, well, I mean, he's someone I walked the yard with. We didn't really know each other. When I was in, uh, I was sort of a mixed bag. I went to school, went to college, I did a lot of groups and everything, but on the other hand, I had a drug problem. I sold heroin on the yard. Uh, that's why they started shipping me everywhere. I became someone who could walk up on a yard and pretty much if there was a problem going on with the white race, I could, because my reputation was if you were doing 5 or 10 years, I want to see you go home. And because I came in as a 1%er, I didn't have to play the race card on the yard. So I pretty much got along with people, Donnie and the North, the way I would say it, North Siders, South Siders, Crips, Bloods, Aryans, because I didn't get involved in the politics of it. I just tried to do the right thing. And as the years went by, I went and got my GED, finished that up, went to college, took a lot of groups to help myself, and with age comes wisdom. That's pretty much where I was there.
And how did you become affiliated with Barrios Unidos?
I just through another lifer out there, Jeff Walker, and other people. To be honest with you, when I came here today, I wasn't even aware of the organization, but I know the people who are running the organization. But you have to remember, I left California, went back to Cleveland, Ohio, so I'm not as involved or as knowledgeable as they are about what their politics are out here. And like I said, I will be honest. I tell my story to the people I hang around with, to my children, to other young people, but I don't really live that much in my past. Uh, when I got out, my sister flew out to pick me up. I remember getting in the car. I remember going down the road, leaving Corcoran. And if I was to describe how I felt about that 34 years, it was a blink. It was like I left, and now I was back. And what happened in all those years seemed to just leave in an instant. And it's sort of been like that for me since I've been out. I just went back to doing what I know how to do, work, rebuild my life. I don't mean to brag, but one thing we always say to my buddies that are having problems, they've been out there. I know crane operators, iron workers, truck drivers. I know a few guys that run their own businesses. And in 5 short years, somehow, some miracle, I've been able to catch up. The only thing I don't have is I don't have the nest egg I would have had I stayed out for those 34 years and saved and put away. But I appear to be someone who has everything every other middle class person has in Cleveland, and I'm blessed for that. I got a good wife. She doesn't really put up with any nonsense. The old joke, they're always right. So just who's right, they're right, and she's the boss. And I'm at an age now to where I just enjoy sitting in my den, and I'm off parole. I have a few beers every day. I drink a little Jim Beam now and then, but I don't let things get out of hand. I care more for what's around me and what I have than I do proving anything to anybody. So I'm a pretty happy guy.
And after seeing everything here today that we talk about, that BU talks about, what is your impression of us as an organization?
Excellent. I brought tears to my eyes a couple of times today. This is emotional. This is almost like it's like being back on a yard in a way. Even what we're doing out there. That's like stuff we did in prison. Getting people on the yard, the bands, the lifers trying to pass it down, so to speak, so that the ones who had a chance, because none of us ever thought we were getting out, especially the way the politics were. I fell when Ronald Reagan was in his first term. I went through Duke Majan, Pete Wilson, Davis, Schwarzenegger, thank God for Jerry Brown. That's all I can say. And the truth is most of the extra years I did to myself. In 2006, a board member told me, you're going to get a 5-year denial because we know you're kind of running things on the yard, you're getting write-ups. But I want to tell you something, and I never thought a board member would tell you. He goes, you're a mixed bag. You have a college education, you're involved in groups on one hand. On the other hand, we know that you're out there doing things you shouldn't do. And I'm telling you right now, we know your case. We know your wife and you were involved in a fight. and you didn't, we know they offered you a deal and you turned it down. If you ever want to get out, you got to walk away from everything you're doing that I'm talking about. And if you come back in 5 years and you don't have the write-ups, I'm going to give you out. We're going to give you a date. Well, I did that by faith. I had to go back. I turned things over to other people. 5 years later, I went back. I had a board member, 2-hour hearing. After the 2-hour hearing, he looked me dead in the eye. He said, "You deserve a date, but I'm not giving it to you." And what I got instead was a 3-year denial, because he said, "I'm going to give it to you because I don't believe you're for real. But if I'm wrong 3 years from now, if you come back, you're going home." And that's what happened. I hung on to that belief. And that's a hard thing, because most of us in prison, we're so beat down that it's like crabs in a bucket. If someone comes back and says, "Oh, they told me they're going to give me a date next time," I guarantee you every lifer who got a denial that year is going to tell you you're a fool. They're lying to you, And because that has become your life, you got to think 34 years. It's a world within a world. It's a United States within a United States. And that's your town, that's your city, that's your government. And if you don't believe you're ever leaving that, then you have to play by the rules. And our rules weren't necessarily their rules. So you're kind of in a catch-22. So I pulled up everything I had, and I honored that promise, and thank God it worked out for me. And that's pretty much where I'm at today. It's still working out for me. I'm sure I got a higher power looking after me. As far as your organization goes, I don't think I've been touched by anything this much since I walked out of there. So yes, excellent organization. I'm proud of what you guys are doing. Keep doing it.